Ian, you stick around because you have been very mad online on Twitter, and we got to go over some of your recent tweets. Upset about the upcoming vote for the Premier League. Will they go to 5 subs? Ian, this is what you've been tweeting. Understand fitness concerns if Premier League clubs vote for 5 subs, but having seen it in the Bundesliga, it's messy, disrupts rhythm of the game, changes nearly half the cast list, benefits bigger clubs with stronger squads, and is not how the rest of the season was played. And that wasn't enough, Ian. You followed that up with, if clubs are being allowed to play friendlies to get match sharp, there is no need to switch to 5 subs. Speaking of Matt Online, we also welcome Craig Burley to this part of the conversation. But Ian, I'll keep it with you. You are clearly very against 5 subs. Do you care to elaborate any more than what you can in 140 characters?
I think I've made most of the points in those 140 characters, but having seen it in operation, I can understand where the clubs are coming from. They're thinking they haven't had pre-season friendlies. They haven't had the usual build-up to a new season, and it almost is like a new season. So the players probably can't last 90 minutes, and if they try to play 90, there might be more injuries because of that, hence more substitutions. Having seen it in action, there's a slightly farcical element to it in the second half. Okay, it happens in 3 blocks, but by the end, you've got, as I said, half the cast list out there, or nearly half the cast list, are different. You're never quite sure who's left on the pitch and who's come on. It's quite confusing. And of course, who benefits most from having 5 substitutes? Well, the big clubs who've got about £100 million worth of players sitting on their bench. So the rest of the competition was not played with 5 substitutes. The rest of the competition was played with 3 subs. Let's stick to that.
Craig, what do you think of what Ian's saying?
No, I agree. And look, I just want to get all these leagues finished no matter how. And if that's what the clubs vote, that's what the clubs vote. It's not the biggest disaster ever. However, Ian's right. And, you know, one of the things for commentators in particular, and they do get up in these pre-season friendlies, is when teams make 11 changes at half-time. It's an absolute bloody nightmare. But that's not the important fact here. Some of the facts that Ian brought up were like, if you're in, say, for example, take the Premier League that's about to restart, or even the Bundesliga that's in play at the moment, you have clubs down the bottom fighting for their very survival. Probably the 5 or 6 clubs in all those leagues are down the bottom, still with a chance to be relegated if the seasons are finished. Now, if you're playing against one of the top teams and you're holding out for a point or 3 points away from home and they bring on 5 big hitters, that's a big difference because you're actually bringing on effectively another first team to change the game. And clubs like Liverpool, Man City, and some of the other big boys can easily do that, whilst the rest can't really change the scenario too much within the current squads that they've got. So there are issues there with the substitutes coming on, but I think it sort of pales into a little bit of insignificance slightly at the moment in terms of that's not the biggest concern for the Premier League and other leagues. It's getting this damn season finished.
Craig, what about from the viewer's perspective? Ian called it slightly farcical. When you're watching the Bundesliga games, do you find it slightly farcical? Does it bother you as you watch to see the 4th or 5th subs?
Oh, I don't like to see too many changes in a game, to be quite frank with you. But it is what it is for the time being. Whether we agree players are fit enough or not to have just the normal 3 subs is a different debate. I don't like to see a game that's too much stop and start. So from that respect, it can be. But I can understand that all the different countries are trying to find ways to mitigate injuries and get this season finished. I just feel it's a little bit of a step too far because these players are super fit. The sports scientists these days, the structure around the football clubs, the medical facilities, the ability to understand a player's fitness level is a way more than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago and plus. And I think it's a little bit of mollycoddling, cotton wool wrapping of the players to say that they absolutely need to have 5 subs or they're not going to be able to finish games.
Ian, surely it's in place to protect the players. Do you agree? Do they not need it?
No, I don't think they do need it. I think what Craig said is absolutely right. These days, the players are super fit. The sports scientists are monitoring every movement as well. And here's another thing. Yesterday, we were told that the clubs now had the permission to play friendlies against each other as long as they didn't travel for more than 90 minutes. So they'll be having internal 11 against 11 games. They're pretty fit anyway. We keep hearing them telling us how sharp the players are looking in training already. Then they'll have these friendlies. So I don't see any need to change the number of substitutions for the last quarter of the competition. I mean, Craig's right. The big picture is let's get playing again. They did a whole bunch of new tests for COVID-19 today, nearly 1,200, and the results come out, and there's only one positive. So it is all systems go for the restart.
Yeah, Ian, looks like just about 2 weeks till we'll get to see the Premier League return. There's no title race in England as we had in Germany. So if you're selling it, what do we have to look forward to, Ian?
Well, the top four race is very interesting. I'm particularly interested to see whether Manchester United can carry on where they left off, because where they left off was 11 games unbeaten with 9 clean sheets. Now they have Marcus Rashford fit again. They have Paul Pogba back again. And of course, they have Bruno Fernandes and the effect that he was having on the team. So they're in 5th place at the moment. Be interesting to see whether they can gate crash the top 4. Big picture there is, if they don't get into the Champions League next season, will they be able to secure the signing of Jadon Sancho, for which they are favourites? Of course, the other argument is down at the bottom. The relegation tussle will be absolutely fascinating. Norwich look a bit doomed, but there's 4 clubs within about 2 points ahead of them, so that's going to be a right old dogfight.
Craig, what storyline are you most interested in when the Premier League returns?
Yeah, I'm always interested in the relegation as well, because unfortunately having spent a couple of years fighting it under Jim Smith at Derby, I know how much pressure there is down there, and sometimes that brings, I don't know if exciting is the wrong words, but the tension among the supporters. So that will be interesting. But of course, the European places are really all that's up for grabs. Can Sheffield United keep their great form up? They've got a game in hand. Can Arsenal still hang in there? Mikel Arteta's been saying they possibly can. Will Chelsea fold? Will Leicester fold? All these teams can still be gotten. Leicester had a little blip and certainly can be caught now. I mean, Man City can be caught for European places, but I don't think they will. And of course, as Ian said, it is imperative for Man United to make sure they're playing Champions League football. And they were looking good for doing so before the break, but can they re-up once this season starts again? So clearly Liverpool are going to be picking the title up, wherever that is, behind closed doors or wherever it is. They'll be picking that championship up. But there is plenty others to play for, and you can throw Wolves into that mix as well for the European places. So there's quite a bit going on behind the top 2 or top 1 in England.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.